Enemy Within: Defeating Procrastination and Self-Doubt. By HushVaultTV Intro, The Silent Killer of Dreams. They say the greatest war is the one fought in silence, not the one between people, but the one between you and you. Every morning, a voice inside your head tries to negotiate with your potential. It tells you to rest a little longer, to start tomorrow, to wait until it feels right. That voice is polite. It never shouts. It whispers. And in that whisper lives the most dangerous enemy you'll ever face: procrastination. The truth is, it's not the lack of opportunity that kills dreams. It's hesitation. It's the false comfort of waiting for the perfect time. The perfect time doesn't exist. There's only now, and what you choose to do with it. This isn't just another motivational talk. This is a mirror. And before this hour ends, you'll learn that the only battle that truly matters is the one within. Chapter 1: The War in Your Head. There are two versions of you. The first is powerful, ambitious, disciplined, hungry. It dreams of building something meaningful. It imagines waking up early, working out, making progress, earning respect. Then there's the other version, the one that hesitates, the one that scrolls for just 5 more minutes, the one that says, "I'll do it later." And these two versions of you are constantly at war. Not on the outside, on the inside, in your thoughts, in the quiet moments when no one is watching. You see, procrastination isn't about laziness. It's about fear. Fear of failure. Fear of success. Fear of being seen trying and not being perfect. The mind builds excuses faster than you can build progress. It tells you that you're not ready, that you need more time, more knowledge, more motivation. But the truth, you already have enough to start. Starting doesn't require confidence. It requires courage. And courage only shows up when you stop overthinking and take the first imperfect step. Most people lose their battles before they even begin. Not because they're weak, but because they've made peace with hesitation. They've gotten used to the comfort of not moving forward. Here's something you need to understand. Every time you delay what matters, you train your mind to avoid discomfort. And what you avoid starts to control you. The more you skip your goals, the heavier they become, until even the smallest task feels impossible. But here's the shift. Once you decide that discomfort isn't the enemy, the war changes. Progress begins when you stop running from the fight. You will never eliminate fear. You just learn to act in spite of it. Because the truth is, the most successful people aren't fearless. They've simply learned to stop waiting for permission. And that's what this book will help you do. To silence the voice that delays your greatness, to train your mind to move, even when it's not ready. So before we go further, make a promise to yourself. For the next hour, stay here. Don't pause, don't skip. Let these words sink in. Because the battle for your future starts right now. And it starts with your next decision. Chapter 2: The Psychology of Delay. The human brain is powerful, but it's also predictable. It's not that you don't want to change, it's that your mind is wired to protect you from discomfort. When you think about doing something difficult, starting a business, reading, working out, creating something from nothing, your brain doesn't see growth. It sees danger. It says, wait, let's stay safe, let's stay comfortable. This is the trap of delay, the brain's defense mechanism against uncertainty. See, procrastination isn't a time problem, it's an emotion problem. You're not avoiding the task, you're avoiding the feeling that comes with it. The fear of failing, the frustration of not being perfect, the pain of not seeing instant results. So your brain offers you relief, a quick escape. Scroll your phone, check your messages, watch one more video, eat something, do anything that distracts you from doing the thing that matters. That's how the dopamine trap works. Every time you avoid a hard task and pick an easy one, your brain rewards you with a small hit of pleasure. Dopamine. It feels good for a moment, but that moment steals your progress. You start chasing comfort instead of completion. You become addicted to ease, and allergic to effort. Let me tell you something real. Discipline doesn't give you pleasure first. It gives you pain first, and peace later. Distraction gives you pleasure first, and pain later. Every day you're choosing which pain to live with. There's a phrase most people say without realizing how dangerous it is. I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow is the greatest lie ever told to humanity. It's the fantasy of progress without effort, the dream of becoming better without doing better. And yet, millions of people live there, in the illusion of soon. Soon I'll start saving. Soon I'll go to the gym. Soon I'll build the business. Soon I'll change my life. But soon never comes, because later is a comfortable form of never. You don't break procrastination by waiting for motivation. You break it by acting before you feel ready. The brain learns by repetition, not inspiration. If you want to stop delaying, you have to rewire your reward system. Start small. Do something tiny, right now. Clean your desk. Write 1 paragraph. Read 2 pages. Send that message. Then acknowledge it. Celebrate it. Because every completed action teaches your brain a new truth. I act. I finish. I follow through. It's not about perfection. It's about proof. Proof that you can move even when your feelings say don't. Once you build that identity, procrastination begins to lose power. Because now your brain starts craving progress instead of comfort. You don't need more time. You need to start respecting the time you already have. And once that realization hits, you'll start seeing how much life you've been leaving on the table, simply because you kept saying, not today. Chapter 3. The Weight of Unfinished Work. There's a quiet kind of exhaustion that many people live with, not from doing too much, but from leaving too much undone. You know that feeling. The list of things you said you'd start, the goals you abandoned halfway, the ideas sitting in your notes app that never saw daylight. Every single one of them sits somewhere in your mind, like an open tab on a computer. And the more tabs you leave open, the slower your system becomes. That's what unfinished work does to your soul. It clutters your focus. It drains your mental energy. It whispers, you never finish anything. And over time, that whisper becomes your identity. You start believing that maybe you're the kind of person who just doesn't complete things. Not because you're lazy, but because you've trained your brain to be comfortable with the feeling of leaving things half done. Let's be honest, you've started many things before. Workouts, projects, routines, courses, plans. But how many have you finished? Completion is one of the most underrated forms of confidence, because finishing something, even something small, rewires your belief system. It proves to you that you can follow through. Every time you finish what you start, you tell your subconscious mind, I am reliable. I am consistent. I keep promises to myself. But every time you abandon something halfway, you send the opposite message, I can't trust me. And when you can't trust yourself, no goal will ever feel real. That's the hidden cost of unfinished work. It kills self-trust. You start needing external validation to feel accomplished. You need people to tell you you're doing well because you don't have enough proof that you follow through. But here's the truth. Completion isn't about speed. It's about integrity. Most people fail not because the dream was impossible, but because they were addicted to starting, not finishing. They love the thrill of new beginnings, the rush of fresh excitement, the dopamine hit that comes from, I'm going to change my life this time. But then the hard part comes, the boring, repetitive, lonely middle. And that's where most people disappear. Listen carefully. The middle is where greatness is born. The middle is where discipline replaces motivation. The middle is where you stop chasing excitement and start building character. You can't build a great life if you only show up when it feels good. You build it by showing up, especially when it doesn't. Think about this. A seed doesn't stop growing because it's dark underground. It keeps pushing, unseen, until it breaks the surface. That's what finishing looks like. It's invisible at first. But one day, everything you've been nurturing quietly starts to bloom. There's something sacred about seeing something through to the end. It teaches you patience, it sharpens your focus, and it humbles your ego. Because to finish something, you must fight every instinct that tells you to quit. The boredom, the distractions, the doubts, the little voices that say, maybe this isn't for me. But if you can endure that, if you can walk through that fog and reach the end, you become unstoppable. Finishing builds faith. Not the religious kind, the self-belief kind. It's knowing that if you start something, no matter how long it takes, you'll see it through. And once that becomes your identity, life starts to bend in your favor. Because people, opportunities, and momentum all follow consistency. Nobody trusts a half-finished bridge. Nobody invests in a builder who walks away halfway through a project. You want life to trust you? Then finish what you start, even if it's small, even if it takes longer than you planned, even if no one is watching. Because every time you complete something, you clear one more mental tab and free up energy for what truly matters. The weight you've been carrying isn't from doing too much. It's from not closing your loops. You don't need a new goal right now. You need to complete the old one that still calls your name. Finish the thing you started. Write the ending to your unfinished story, and then watch how light your soul feels once you do. Chapter 4. Breaking the Loop. Every human being lives inside patterns. Some patterns build you, others quietly destroy you. Procrastination isn't a single act of delay, it's a loop. A repeating cycle that starts with intention, slips into hesitation, and ends in guilt. You promise yourself you'll start. You don't. You feel bad. Then, to escape the guilt, you distract yourself again. That's the loop. And the hardest part? The loop feels familiar. It feels safe. You start mistaking repetition for comfort. So, if you truly want to grow, you must do something that feels unnatural at first. You must break the loop. 1. See the loop. Awareness is your first weapon. You can't change what you refuse to see. The next time you catch yourself saying, "I'll do it later," don't judge yourself. Pause. Watch the thought pass like a cloud. Then ask, why am I avoiding this? You'll notice it's rarely about laziness. It's almost always fear. Fear of being judged. Fear of failing. Fear of realizing how much time you've already lost. Write the reason down, literally. When you see the excuse in words, it loses its mystery. It becomes something you can confront. 2. Redefine discomfort. Here's something most people never learn. The thing you call discomfort is often just growth without applause. When you're doing something hard, your brain screams because it wants the comfort of being good at it instantly. But mastery doesn't feel good in the beginning. It feels awkward, slow, and humbling. Rewire how you interpret that feeling. Instead of saying, "This is hard," tell yourself, "This is how strength feels when it's forming." Every time you lean into discomfort, you're carving new grooves in your mind, new habits, new neural pathways, new power. 3. The 3-second rule. Action kills hesitation. There's a small window between the thought, "I should do it," and the thought, "I'll do it later." That window lasts about 3 seconds. If you act inside that gap, stand up, open the laptop, pick up the phone, walk to the gym, you interrupt the loop before it fully forms. Don't wait for a perfect mood. Just count down. 3, 2, 1, move. Once you're in motion, momentum will handle the rest. You can't think your way into confidence. You move your way into it. 4. Build micro-momentum. People fail because they try to change everything overnight. They try to go from chaos to perfect discipline in 1 week. But life doesn't work like that. Micro-momentum means doing something so small you can't say no to it. Write for 2 minutes, read 1 page, do 5 push-ups, reply to 1 email. Small wins build proof. Proof builds belief. Belief builds identity. Soon what felt small starts to feel natural, and that's when you expand the challenge, little by little. Discipline isn't built in a single grand act. It's built in thousands of small, consistent, unglamorous acts that nobody applauds. 5. Change your environment. Habits grow where they're watered. If your surroundings feed distraction, your discipline will starve. Look around you. What's in your space? Who's in your circle? What apps steal your focus before you even start the day? You can't rise above an environment designed to pull you down. If you want to change your life, you might have to change your room, your routine, your rhythm, and sometimes even your relationships. Put visual triggers everywhere. A book on your desk, your goals on your wall, your alarm across the room. Let your environment make the right choice easier than the wrong one. 6. Kill the perfect plan. Perfectionism is procrastination wearing a tuxedo. You tell yourself you're waiting until it's right, but what you're really doing is avoiding being imperfect in public. The first version of anything will be ugly. Your business, your video, your draft, your routine. That's normal. Progress loves the messy version. You can fix what's started. You can't fix what's never begun. So start small, ugly, scared. But start anyway. Because once you begin, fear loses its language. 7. Keep promises to yourself. Breaking the loop isn't just about systems, it's about self-respect. Every time you tell yourself you'll do something and you actually do it, you build internal trust. That's what discipline really is, trusting yourself enough to know that your word means something. If you say you'll wake up early and you do, even once, you prove to your mind that you keep your word. Do it again tomorrow, and the trust deepens. Soon you won't need motivational quotes to move you. You'll move because you believe yourself, and that belief is freedom. 8. Learn to forgive, but not forget you're going to slip. You'll have days when you delay, when you waste time, when you fall into the old loop. Forgive yourself fast. Guilt doesn't create progress, it creates paralysis. But don't forget the feeling. Remember the frustration, the regret, the heaviness that comes from losing a day to distractions. Use that memory as fuel. Progress isn't about never falling, it's about shortening the time between the fall and the rise. 9. The identity shift. Here's the secret no one tells you. You don't break the loop by fighting your old self forever. You break it by becoming someone new. You stop saying, "I'm trying to be disciplined," and start saying, "I'm the kind of person who shows up." That small shift in language rewires the mind. Identity comes before consistency. Once you decide who you are, your habits start aligning automatically. 10. The loop ends here. You've lived inside that pattern long enough. You've given too many hours, too many ideas, too many dreams to hesitation. Now it's time to interrupt the script, to take one small action today and prove that you are no longer stuck. Don't wait for the feeling. The feeling will come after you move. The war within you doesn't end when fear disappears. It ends when courage becomes louder than comfort. This is how the loop ends, not with a perfect day, but with a simple choice, to act anyway. Chapter 5. The Power of Self-Trust. There's a kind of strength that no one can see, the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you'll do what you said you would do. It's not loud, it doesn't need validation, it simply is. That strength is called self-trust, and it's the backbone of discipline. 1. The broken promises. We forget most people think procrastination is about time, but deep down it's about trust. Think about it. Every time you say, "I'll start tomorrow," and you don't, you break a promise. Every time you plan your week and ignore it, you break a promise. Every time you say, "This is my year," and quit halfway, another broken promise. Now imagine what happens after years of doing that. You stop believing yourself. Not consciously, but internally, your brain begins to treat your words as background noise. So when you say, "I'm going to wake up early," your subconscious whispers, "We've heard this before." And that's the real cost of inconsistency, not just lost progress, but lost credibility with yourself. 2. Self-trust is self-respect. When you don't trust your own word, you can't respect yourself. And when you don't respect yourself, you can't build real confidence. Confidence isn't pretending to be sure. It's the quiet knowledge that you'll show up, even when it's hard. You can't buy that kind of peace. You can't fake it either. It's earned through repetition, through discipline, through follow-through. People often ask, how do I build confidence? The answer is simple. Keep promises to yourself. Start small. If you say you'll work for 1 hour, work for 1 hour. If you say you'll read 10 pages, read 10 pages. If you say you'll stop scrolling at midnight, then stop scrolling. Because every time you follow through, your mind takes note. We did what we said we'd do. That small proof compounds. It becomes the foundation of power. Soon your actions and your words start matching. And when that happens, your world changes. 3. Why self-discipline feels like love. Discipline has been misunderstood for too long. People think it's punishment. It's not. Discipline is love in motion. It's saying, I care about my future self too much to betray them today. That's what true self-respect looks like. You're not being hard on yourself, you're being honest with yourself. Love isn't always soft. Sometimes love is saying no. No to the distraction, no to the easy escape, no to the version of you that's still scared of growing. You can't claim to love yourself if you keep letting yourself down. The greatest form of self-care isn't a spa day. It's waking up and honoring the promises you made to your own soul. 4. The mirror test. Here's something few people ever do. Look in the mirror and ask, can I trust me? It's uncomfortable because you'll remember every unfinished plan, every goal that faded, every time you chose comfort over growth. But that discomfort is your teacher. That mirror moment isn't about shame. It's about awareness. Because you can't rebuild trust until you acknowledge where you broke it. So say it aloud. I've let myself down before, but I'm not my past. I can build a new pattern. I can start again, and this time I'll finish. You don't need perfection to rebuild trust. You just need consistency. Show up once, then again tomorrow, then again the day after that. Little by little, you'll see that reflection change, not in your face, but in your eyes. There'll be calm there. There'll be certainty. Because you'll know that when you speak, you mean it. 5. The myth of motivation. People wait for motivation like it's some kind of magic. But motivation is a feeling, and feelings are temporary. You can't depend on something that changes with your mood. What you can depend on is trust. When you trust yourself, you no longer need motivation to start. You start because starting is what you do. Self-trust becomes automatic momentum. It removes negotiation. No more should I, only let's go. That's why some people seem unstoppable. It's not because they're stronger, it's because they've removed doubt from the equation. 6. Accountability begins with you. You can have mentors, friends, routines, but at the end of the day, no one can hold you accountable like you can. People may remind you of your potential, but you're the one who has to protect it. Accountability isn't pressure. It's a promise to your future self. It's saying, I will not be my own excuse. And every time you keep that promise, you build a history of reliability, a track record that only you can see. That history is what separates those who dream from those who build. 7. Start with one keystone. Promise you don't need to fix everything overnight. Pick one promise, just one, and make it sacred. Wake up at a specific time, meditate for 10 minutes, work out every morning, study one chapter, write one page. Whatever it is, tie your identity to it. Do it every single day, no matter how small it feels. That one consistent habit becomes your foundation. It's the proof that you are changing. And from that single promise, others grow naturally. Because once you learn you can trust yourself in one area, you start believing you can do it in all areas. 8. The calm after the storm. Self-trust doesn't make life easier. It makes life clearer. You'll still face fear, delay, doubt, but they'll no longer control you. Because now there's something stronger inside you, a voice that says, "We've been here before. We'll keep going." That voice is peace. It's not loud, it's steady. It's the sound of a person who's finally aligned, not perfect, but honest, consistent, and in motion. When you reach that point, life feels lighter, because you're no longer carrying the guilt of broken promises. You're carrying momentum. And momentum, that quiet, unstoppable rhythm, is how ordinary people do extraordinary things. The real secret isn't motivation, it's trust. And the moment you start keeping your word, you'll never have to chase motivation again. Chapter 6: Rewiring Your Mind for Action. You can't build a new life with an old mind. If you keep the same patterns of thought, you'll keep creating the same results. To defeat procrastination, you can't just force action. You have to reprogram the system that decides whether you act at all. The mind is a machine of habit. It doesn't care if the habits serve you or destroy you. It just repeats what's familiar. So if you've spent years feeding it hesitation, you can't expect instant discipline. You have to teach it, gently but firmly, how to move again. 1. Your mind is a garden. Every thought is a seed. Every action waters it. If you plant doubt, delay, and fear, that's what will grow. If you plant courage, routine, and patience, you'll harvest results. But here's the thing about gardens. They don't bloom overnight. They demand attention. They demand consistency. Your mindset is no different. You can't expect a powerful life from a neglected mind. You must weed out the patterns that no longer serve you. The overthinking, the fear, the constant what if. You do that through awareness and repetition. Awareness removes the weeds. Repetition grows the new roots. 2. Repetition builds identity. Whatever you repeat, you become. If you repeat doubt, you become doubtful. If you repeat delay, you become a procrastinator. If you repeat discipline, you become unstoppable. The problem isn't that people don't know what to do. It's that they keep telling their brain, "This is who I am," through their actions. You have to feed your brain a new narrative. I am someone who finishes. I am someone who follows through. I am someone who acts. Say it until it feels real, then prove it through movement. Your mind learns more from behavior than belief. If you want to think like a disciplined person, start acting like one, even before you feel like one. That's how identity is rewired. 3. The dopamine reversal. Procrastination hijacks your dopamine system, the part of your brain that decides what feels rewarding. When you scroll, eat, or binge watch instead of working, you're teaching your brain that distraction equals pleasure. You can't eliminate dopamine, you have to redirect it. Start rewarding the right things. After you complete a task, celebrate it, even if it's small. Stand up, stretch, smile, mark it as done. When your brain links effort with pleasure, you start craving progress instead of procrastination. That's how discipline stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like satisfaction. 4. The if-then strategy. Your brain responds better to structure than pressure. So create mental shortcuts. If this happens, then I do that. Example: if I wake up, then I drink water and stretch. If I feel like scrolling, then I open my notes and read my goals. If I delay, then I take one small step anyway. This approach turns every temptation into a trigger for action. It's not about suppressing old habits, it's about rerouting them. The more predictable your actions become, the less room hesitation has to exist. 5. The power of visual triggers. The mind responds to symbols faster than logic. That's why environment matters. If your desk is cluttered, your mind associates it with delay. If your room is tidy, your brain feels order, and order invites focus. So make your environment a mirror of your goals. Keep your tools visible. Write affirmations where your eyes land in the morning. Make your progress visible, a checklist, a wallboard, anything that says you're moving. When your environment speaks to your mind, Your discipline becomes automatic. 6. Change the emotional meaning of work. Here's the truth: the reason you delay isn't because work is hard, it's because your brain associates work with pain. You've taught it that work equals stress and relaxation equals pleasure. So when it's time to start, your brain resists. It's trying to protect you from discomfort. You can't out-argue that. You have to retrain it. Start by pairing effort with positive emotion. Play calm music while you work. Use scent, sound, or ritual to make work feel safe. Light a candle. Breathe. Sit down. Begin. Soon the mind starts associating work with focus, not fear. This is how consistency becomes peaceful instead of painful. 7. The habit loop formula. Every habit has 3 parts: cue, routine, reward. To rewire your mind for action, you have to reprogram that loop consciously. Example: cue, morning alarm rings. Routine, you get up immediately. Reward, you feel proud, not for being early, but for keeping your word. The brain starts chasing that reward, and that's when change becomes effortless. You're not trying to fight procrastination forever. You're trying to automate momentum. 8. The language of power. The words you use become the architecture of your mindset. If you keep saying, "I'm trying," you'll always feel like you're struggling. Replace weak language with powerful truth. I'm building. I'm improving. I'm consistent. I don't negotiate my goals. Talk to yourself like someone you respect, because your subconscious listens, and it believes everything you say. 9. The science of momentum. Action produces energy. Movement multiplies clarity. Every time you act, your brain releases chemicals that make you feel alive. Serotonin, dopamine, adrenaline. These are nature's rewards for progress. That's why starting is the hardest part. Once you're in motion, your biology helps you continue. So the next time you hesitate, remind yourself, I don't need to feel ready. I just need to start the engine. You'll find that clarity doesn't come before action. It comes from action. 10. The mind that obeys. Rewiring isn't instant, but if you keep training your mind to move when it says stop, it eventually learns obedience. The same brain that once resisted work starts craving it. The same mind that once loved distraction starts despising it. That's the reward for patience, a brain that serves your purpose. And when that happens, you'll realize something beautiful. You're no longer forcing discipline. You're simply living it. You're not lazy. You're rewiring. And every small action, every little follow-through, is one more spark reconnecting your mind to motion. One day the delay will disappear, not because it died, but because you outgrew it. Chapter 7. Momentum over motivation. Motivation is fragile. It's like the morning sun, bright for a while, but gone by noon. It burns hot, but it doesn't last. That's why so many people start strong and fade away. Because they built their discipline on emotion instead of momentum. Motivation asks, do I feel like it? Momentum says, it doesn't matter, we move. The difference between those two questions decides who you become. 1. The myth of inspiration. People keep waiting for the perfect wave, that surge of energy that'll make everything easy. But waves come and go. If you only move when the tide feels high, you'll spend most of your life stuck on the shore. The truth is, the people you admire, the athletes, the creators, the entrepreneurs, they're not running on constant motivation. They've built systems that keep them moving long after the feeling disappears. Motivation is a spark. Momentum is the fire that keeps burning when the spark is gone. 2. The power of motion energy is created by movement. Not the other way around. You don't get motivated first, you move first. And once you move, energy follows. It's physics, it's psychology, it's life. You can't think your way out of stagnation. You can only move your way out of it. One step leads to another. One action leads to clarity. One moment of courage builds 10 more. That's the secret of progress. It doesn't come in leaps. It comes in quiet steps that never stop. 3. Build a rhythm, not a rush. Most people fail because they chase speed instead of rhythm. They start big, 10 new habits, massive goals, endless plans. And when it collapses, they think they've failed. But failure isn't the opposite of success. Inconsistency is. Success has a tempo, a sustainable rhythm that doesn't drain you, but trains you. Your goal isn't to be fast, it's to be constant. Like a drummer keeping time, like a heart beating through every season. Small beats, repeated endlessly, that's what makes a song. 4. The never zero rule. Momentum dies in extremes. You don't need to do everything perfectly. You just need to never do nothing. That's the never zero rule. No matter how tired you are, how unmotivated, how chaotic the day, do something. If you can't go to the gym, do 10 squats. If you can't write a full chapter, write 1 paragraph. If you can't work 8 hours, work 10 minutes. Never let a day end with zero progress. Because once you break your streak, it becomes easier to stop completely. But if you just do something, you keep the wheel turning. And that wheel, that momentum, is what separates achievers from dreamers. 5. The law of compound effort. Momentum multiplies. The first day feels heavy. The second feels lighter. The third becomes natural. By the time you reach the 10th, you've built inertia. You've moved past emotion and entered momentum. That's when progress starts to feel addictive. Because now your brain has tasted the reward of showing up. Now it craves it. Consistency compounds, not just in results, but in identity. Every day you move, you're telling yourself, this is who I am. And eventually, you stop needing motivation to remember. 6. Motivation is mood. Momentum is character. Anyone can act when they feel inspired. But acting when you don't feel like it, that's character. And character is what builds legacy. Motivation gives you a reason. Momentum gives you a lifestyle. Motivation burns fast. Momentum endures. That's why disciplined people look calm. They're not waiting for emotions to align. They've built systems that keep them anchored even when the world feels chaotic. Their mornings are structured. Their focus is protected. Their movement is non-negotiable. They've learned to live by rhythm, not by mood. 7. The science of continuity. The brain loves completion. Every time you finish a task, your mind releases dopamine, the same chemical responsible for pleasure and motivation. That's why finishing builds momentum, and quitting destroys it. It's not just about big goals, even small wins, washing the dishes, completing a workout, finishing a task, signal to your brain, we follow through. Over time, your mind begins to trust the process itself. It starts expecting movement, so much that not moving feels wrong. That's when discipline becomes instinct. That's when effort feels normal. 8. Rest without stopping. Momentum isn't about endless motion, it's about intelligent motion. Even machines rest, but they never disconnect. You can pause, but don't unplug. Rest intentionally. Rest to recharge, not to escape. When you rest after effort, you grow stronger. When you rest before effort, you lose rhythm. So learn to rest with respect, not as an exit, but as a strategy. 9. The chain of days. There's a simple method that top performers use, visualizing their streak like a chain. Each day they show up, they add a link. The longer the chain grows, the harder it is to break. Miss one day, fine, but never miss 2. Because the second miss restarts the pattern of failure. Protect your chain. Guard your streak like it's sacred. Because it is. It's your proof that you're consistent, that you're in motion, becoming who you said you'd be. 10. The endless climb. Momentum doesn't have a finish line. There's no final moment where you say, I'm done improving. The best people never stop climbing, not because they hate rest, but because they love growth. They've realized something profound. Movement is life. Stillness is decay. It's not about rushing anymore. It's about staying alive, awake, present, and constantly evolving. That's what real momentum is. Not speed, but steady transformation. 11. When the fire fades, there will be days when nothing feels worth it. Days when your goals seem far, your efforts small, your energy gone. That's when you remind yourself, you're not here because it's easy. You're here because it's worth it. On those days, don't chase the feeling, chase the motion. Let your body move even when your mind doesn't want to. And when you look back, you'll realize the days that tested you most built you the most. 12. The art of becoming unstoppable. Unstoppable doesn't mean you never slow down. It means that even when you fall, you rise faster. You keep momentum alive through resilience, through forgiveness, through self-trust, through habit. You don't quit when it's boring. You don't give up when it's quiet. You keep building in silence. Because you understand something most don't. Momentum loves silence. It grows best when nobody's watching. That's when transformation happens, not in front of applause, but in the stillness of discipline. You don't need motivation to start. You need momentum to last. And once momentum becomes your nature, you'll never need to push again. You'll simply flow. Chapter 8. The Victory Within. There's a victory no one can see. It doesn't come with applause. It doesn't trend online. It doesn't even feel dramatic. It's silent. It's invisible. It's the victory that happens the moment you choose to act, even when no one's watching. 1. The invisible battle. All your life, you've been fighting two versions of yourself, the one that wants to grow and the one that wants to stay safe. Most days, the safe version wins quietly. You make excuses, delay plans, and justify inaction, and the world never notices. But deep inside, you feel the weight of the battle. And then one day, something shifts. You wake up, tired of your own hesitation, tired of your own potential sitting unused, tired of seeing what you could be and doing nothing about it. That's the day victory begins. Not when you finally win big, but when you finally say, enough. I move now. That single moment of rebellion against your own comfort is the seed of your future self. 2. The strength in small wins. You've been taught to celebrate only the loud victories, the promotions, the milestones, the achievements. But the quiet wins are the ones that build you. Waking up early when you didn't feel like it. Finishing a workout no one saw. Choosing focus over distraction. Finishing a book you almost abandoned. These are not small things. They are proofs. Proof that you're breaking patterns. Proof that you're not who you used to be. Proof that you're rewriting your story, one decision at a time. And over time, those small wins become armor. They protect you from the voices that doubt you. They remind you who you are when life gets heavy. 3. The echo of effort. The world doesn't reward effort immediately, but it never ignores it. Every hour of work, every late night, every day of consistency, they echo. They build momentum quietly until one day the results show up all at once and people call it luck. But you'll know better. You'll know it was effort that nobody saw. That's why you can't quit just because no one's clapping. The universe is always watching consistency, and it always pays back, in compound ways you can't predict. 4. The art of inner peace. The greatest reward of discipline isn't success, it's peace. Peace that comes from knowing you showed up. Peace that comes from living aligned with your word. Peace that comes from no longer negotiating with your potential. You can't buy that peace. You can't fake it either. It's earned, in the silence of consistency. That peace feels different. It's not excitement. It's calm. It's control. It's self-respect. You start to realize that winning doesn't always mean more. Sometimes it means enough. Enough discipline, enough clarity, enough quiet confidence to keep going, no matter what. 5. Becoming the builder. Every person who changes their life becomes a builder of habits, of systems, of structure, a builder of mindset, a builder of peace. And like every builder, you'll have days when nothing looks complete, days when you wonder if the foundation is even working, days when the effort feels invisible. But trust this, no honest effort is ever wasted. Every act of discipline adds a brick to your fortress. Every completed task strengthens the walls. Every day of showing up makes the structure harder to break. And one morning, you'll look around and realize you've built something no one can take from you, yourself. 6. The moment of clarity. There comes a point when procrastination stops being an enemy and becomes a teacher. You'll look back at all the times you hesitated and realize those were lessons, moments that taught you how painful delay can be and how peaceful progress feels. You'll start to see your past not as wasted time, but as preparation. Everything that used to slow you down was training you to appreciate momentum now. That's growth. Not overnight transformation, but gradual evolution. The kind that changes your soul before it changes your circumstances. 7. You don't need permission. You've spent too much of your life waiting for clarity, for courage, for confidence, for the right moment. But here's the truth. There is no right moment. There's only now. Now is the only doorway to tomorrow. Now is the only tool you'll ever have. No one is coming to give you permission. No one will arrive with the perfect sign. You already have enough to begin. The question is, will you use it? 8. Living beyond the loop. Remember the loop, the cycle of delay, guilt, and distraction. You've broken it now. You've trained your mind to act. You've rebuilt trust. You've replaced fear with focus. And though the old habits may whisper sometimes, they no longer have power. Because the version of you that used to wait doesn't exist anymore. You outgrew them. That's the quiet victory. That's the victory within. 9. The legacy of motion. You may not realize it yet, but every step you take now is teaching someone else what's possible. Someone's watching you build silently. Someone's learning from your persistence. Someone's finding strength in your routine. That's how legacies begin. Not with followers, but with influence born of integrity. You're not just improving yourself, you're becoming a signal of what discipline looks like. That's power. That's purpose. That's legacy. 10. The final reflection. Close your eyes. Take a breath. You've spent years overthinking, waiting, delaying. Now you've spent an hour awakening. The future you've been chasing isn't out there. It's inside you. It always has been. The victory within you was never gone. It was only buried under hesitation. You've uncovered it now. You've proven that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's movement despite it. From this day on, move with intention, live with clarity. And when the voice of doubt returns, smile, because now you know its name. It's the same voice that used to hold you back, and you've already beaten it once. You are not waiting anymore. You are becoming. And that is the victory within. Outro. You've always been capable. Take a deep breath. If you've made it here, it means something powerful. You didn't just listen. You stayed. You showed up for yourself. And maybe for the first time in a while, you didn't rush to the end for answers. You walked here, step by step, page by page, minute by minute. That's what real change looks like. Not fireworks, not drama. Just quiet, honest presence. You've spent enough time believing you needed to become someone else. You don't. You were never missing discipline. You were only disconnected from it. You were never lacking potential. You were only doubting it. And you were never weak. You were just untrained. The truth is, you've always been capable. That strength you've been searching for isn't something you need to find. It's something you need to remember. It was there when you were a child, full of curiosity and courage. It was there every time you tried again after failing. It was there in the nights you thought you couldn't keep going, and somehow still did. That's who you are, resilient, patient, capable. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not broken. You are becoming. Becoming disciplined. Becoming grounded. Becoming clear. Becoming the quiet force you were meant to be. So from here, don't chase motivation. Build motion. Don't chase perfection. Build progress. Don't chase success. Build peace. Because when you build peace, everything else finds its place. And when life gets loud again, and it will, remember the silence that shaped you here. The silence where clarity was born. The silence where your future self started to awaken. You're no longer waiting for the perfect moment. You've realized you are the moment. So move, create, build, become. And when the world asks you what changed, you'll smile, because you'll know the answer. You didn't find power, you remembered it. You didn't find courage, you chose it. You didn't find discipline, you built it. And that's the real victory. This is HushVaultTV, where growth speaks softly and greatness is built in silence. Until the next chapter, stay steady, stay grounded, and keep becoming. That completes Book 1, The Enemy Within, Defeating Procrastination and Self-Doubt. Thanks for listening. Follow HushVaultTV for more daily guides.